Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates. Today we're going to have a look at Hurricane Laura again, or Major Hurricane Laura. This is reaching Cat 2, maybe Cat 3, maybe even Cat 4 category, depending on exactly how it strengthens over the next 12 hours. It's going to be making landfall in probably around 12, 18 hours time, just depending on its exact track and its movement. We'll check the rest of the regions, see if there's any other disturbances. The Eastern Pacific does have quite a few disturbances, but nothing's really developing too quickly as of yet. Just something to keep really an eye on for parts of Mexico and California potentially. But the main story is Hurricane Laura. It's currently got 150 miles per hour winds. And if we have a look at its wind speed potential, 100% chance really tropical storm winds, quite widespread. Hurricane speed winds, almost 100% now, coming into that sort of landfall zone. Very, very strong winds. If we look at arrival time, Wednesday 2 p.m. is the earliest arrival time for tropical storm winds, which is, not even 12 hours away now. So it's going to be very significant winds are going to be coming pretty soon, really, for the Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana coastlines. If we look at wind history, you can see the hurricane force winds have started to significantly expand over the last few hours, the last 12 hours, 24 hours, as it starts to strengthen even further, and I expect that to even widen more before it reaches landfall, and then it would probably significantly diminish. If we look at the warning cone static images, you can see big, quite widespread storm. It's going to be making major hurricane status in the next 12 hours before it makes landfall, proper landfall at 1 a.m. Thursday. That's when the centre of the storm passes over, but there will still be significant impacts even before that. After that, within 24 hours, really, it loses a lot of its potency down to a tropical depression, but it probably still have some fairly gusty winds and some significant rainfall within that as well. It does look like it's going to have quite a long lifespan as it even strengthens to tropical storm winds again as it comes off the coast of America, maybe getting picked up by the jet stream. We'll have to see exactly what happens with that, as that could actually impact the UK. So we'll have to see. We have to see exactly what happens with that. If we have a look at peak surge, some very significant surges, up to 15 feet maybe a bit more, depending on how it coincides with high tide. But widespread 2 to 4, 3 plus really. So quite significant storm surges, as this is quite a low-lying area. So even 1 foot of 1 foot more of storm surge in this could provide quite significant impacts. It's going to be quite a difficult and dangerous scenario. 10 to 15 feet could flood quite far inland. So it's something to make sure you keep an eye on if you do live in these sort of areas, and you probably should take action if you do live within a couple of miles of the coast. If you look at flash flooding potential, quite significant flash flooding potential, even as it becomes a tropical depression all the way across the coast, and then it follows its track inland. So, even though it might diminish its strength in winds, it will have very significant rainfall associated with it, regardless. If you have a look at the rainfall potential, you can see that with maybe 10 to 15 inches as it makes landfall, but widespread 6 inches, 4 inches, and even as it comes inland, again, maybe 6 inches plus, as it lowers itself down to a tropical depression. So very significant impacts to come. And again, it doesn't highlight it here, but wind gusts could be getting up to 120, 130 miles per hour, maybe even a little bit higher, just depending on its exact strengthening. And for any of those details, it really will be in the moment, so you have to check Twitter and online sources, as the strengthening could be happening minute by minute. So you have to keep an eye on that. We'll have a look at the weatherchannel.com. They've got radar images and satellite images. Unfortunately, this is not the live satellite image for the clouds, as it's currently it's not daylight there yet. But this is sort of the cloud image that we do have. But unfortunately, it's not as detailed as the satellite images. But you can see now that there is an eye forming, and that is actually the centre of the storm. So it's quite backloaded, but there's still very significant impacts regardless of where you get hit by this storm. You can see outer bands are starting to reach New Orleans, and I'm expecting the wind to start to pick up there within the next few hours as it starts to make landfall towards Louisiana and Texas. now if we have a look at the water vapour, you can see that is, if it loads, that is exactly where the eye is, and you can see very significant water vapour around that, and it's showing really where the strength of the storm is exacerbated by the infrared image, which shows a very similar picture. You can see even on the outer edges we've still got a lot of high cloud, which is symbolic of big convection and thunderstorms. It's a very large storm, so very significant rain. Even around the eye wall, we've got very, very strong eye wall now, with probably some very, very intense rain and wind. So it's going to be wherever you hit along here, if you don't go through the sands, you're going to be getting some very, very significant impacts. If you have a look at the current radar, you can see that the outer bands of the storm are starting to come into view. Not fully into view yet, the radar doesn't stretch that far out, but within the next 6 to 12 hours, it should start to come into more of view, and I'll probably do another video update then as it comes into view, just so we can see the exact areas of precipitation, the outer bands, and see exactly what we're dealing with. We'll get better data, and we can start to see wind speeds pick up, and we'll be able to get a live cloud view, satellite view as well. So I should be updating that later. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe new, and I'll see you again for another video update.